Okay, so let's get started. So today's topic is packages and Classpath. These are very important concepts. From the scale of 5, I would give, let's say, 4. So it's pretty important concept you want to understand. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So concept of package. So package is basically a grouping of related types. As we will talk about in this bullet, when we say types, we are talking about classes, interfaces, enumerations, and annotation types. So far, we have learned only on classes. So for now, when we use the term type, you can just think about classes. Okay, so basically a package is a group of related classes. The reason we want to have a package is because it provides two important features. The most important feature I would say is namespace management. It basically provides a tree structure based name management so that you can structure your classes in a tree structure. And as we learned yesterday, well, actually last week, it does also provide access protection. So you can use a default or protected access modifier, and you can control who can access what. Okay. Okay, so this statement is I just talked about a few seconds ago. Types are often referred to simply as classes or interfaces, or simply classes. Okay. We'll learn the concept of interfaces, enumerations, and annotation later on. So it's a little bit of repeat of what I just talked about, the benefits of packaging. So you can, for example, this is by having related classes in a single package, you can tell where a certain set of classes are in fact located. For example, you might in fact have a set of graphics related the classes in a graphics package. And JDK, which is a Java development kit, comes with a lot of different classes, and they structure their classes in the form of packages. Okay, so the second thing, this is a namespace management. If you happen to have the classes that have the same name, but if they actually not really related, then you want to have two different packages, and they are not going to be in conflict. Okay. The third bullet is basically providing the access management. So by using a default or protected access modifier, you can control who can access what. Okay, so how can we create a package? In order to create a package, you are going to use a keyword called package statement. So package statement is typically the first line of your source code, meaning your the Java file, and of course excluding comments, has to be the first statement in your Java source file. If you do not use a package statement, then your type, meaning your class, ends up in unnamed package, meaning it will be located on the top. Okay, and the examples we have seen so far is not using package, and usually it is highly recommended you use package, meaning you structure your set of Java classes in the form of tree structure like a package structure. So if you have, the reason is because if you have very large number of classes, it's rather difficult to have all those Java classes in a single directory, single level directory. Instead, you might want to construct a tree structure which reflect the packaging structure, which we are going to talk about in a bit more detail later on. Okay, so how can you place a class in a package? So in your source file, you're going to say package, and then you give a name of your package, like my own package. and again, typically it's going to be the first statement on your Java file, except comments. Okay, so this is an example. Suppose I am creating student record class, and I want this class to reside in a package called the school classes. So in that case, you are going to say package and school classes, semicolon. And what that means is that I'm saying that my student record class belongs to this package. And of course, you could have other classes that belong to same school classes package. Okay, so how do you import and using classes from the other packages? So typically your applications will be made of multiple packages, and each of those packages will have a group of Java classes. Now, in order to use classes outside of your package, you need to import the package of those classes. Now, one thing that is important to understand is that all Java programs import java.lang star package automatically. So that's the reason you don't have to say import java.lang.star or java.lang.string, because those belong, any classes that belong to this package, java.lang package, are assumed to be automatically imported by the platform. Now, if you have to use classes from other packages other than java.lang, meaning some package from somebody else or from yourself, then you have to import it. So you use the syntax called like this: import and name of the package in your Java class. So there are three different ways that you can use a class outside of your package. Again, you can import the package member, meaning particular class, using import statement, or you can actually import all classes of that package by using what is called the wildcard, like a star. Or you can provide fully qualified name of the class. In that case, you don't have to use import statement. You could. In this case, that particular class will be imported for you. Okay, so let's see examples of this. Okay, so suppose I am using date class. This is from JDK. So this is not java.lang package. Date class belongs to java.util package. So you have to import it. So in order to import date class, you say import java.util.date, and then in your code you can use the class name like this. Okay, so if you don't have this import statement, it is a compile error. So if you're using Eclipse IDE, it will let you know that, oh, you are missing a class. You have not import date class. Okay, so this is one way of importing class and use it. And the second way is you can use a wildcard. So what I'm saying here is I'm importing all classes under java.util package. There are many classes under java.util package from JDK. So I'm importing all classes from that package. In general, it is recommended that you specifically import a class that you use. So in this case, if you're importing all the classes, that means it's actually loading all the classes, and not all those classes are in fact being used, and it could be actually a waste of your memory space. Okay, now if you are specifying fully qualified path of the class, okay, so what I'm saying here is I'm using java.util date class from java.util package. So as long as you specify the fully qualified path like this, then you don't have to import. You don't have to have an import statement, because by using the fully qualified path, it will be that particular class of this particular package will be imported for you. Okay, but in general, this is not recommended because it's pretty you have to actually type all these things. I mean, if you're using date class multiple times in your code, then it's going to be a real chore to type this long the path. Okay, package directory structure. So this is pretty important concept, and we are going to actually look into this package directory structure using the hands-on lab in detail. Okay, so for now I want to have a little bit of a concept in terms of package directory structure. So packages can be nested. So you could have a package like my own dir package has my own subdir package and then my own package. So java.util here, java.util have in fact sub packages as well. So the date class belongs to java.util package, but there could be other sub packages on the java.util. Okay, so in this case, I'm saying package my own dir dot my own subdir and my own package. So we have 3 different levels of packaging structure. Now what's important is in directory structure should reflect this tree structure. Okay, meaning this package has to be under this directory structure. My own dir has a directory called my own subdir, and my own package is underneath it. So directory structure reflects the packaging structure. So that's important. And again, we'll look into how this one works in detail by learning, by actually exercising some of the concepts in the hands-on lab. Okay, so managing sources and class files. So here, let's say we are creating rectangle class and it belongs to graphics package. So we are going to create a rectangle.java file. Now that rectangle Java file has to reside under the tree structure in which graphics is a parent directory. Okay, so this is important. So when you have, suppose I have a graphics dot XYZ, meaning I have a 2 level of the packaging structure, then I should have graphics slash XYZ slash rectangle.java. So important concept that you have to understand is that the packaging structure should be reflected in the directory structure. So when you are learning Java the first time, yeah, that is the one of the issues that you will actually experience a lot if you're not using an IDE. If you're using IDE handles all these things for you, so you have a less likely chance of getting into a problem of not specifying right packaging structure and having the files in the having Java files in the wrong directory structure, stuff like that. But what we're going to do in hands-on lab is we are going to actually use command line tools, Java C and Java, to actually exercise this concept. Okay, so this is a little bit of a repeat of what we just talked about in the previous slide. So the qualified name of the class file and path name of the Java source files are parallel. Yeah, actually this is a bit new. Okay, so like the source files, the compiled class files should be in a series of directories that reflect the package name. So in our previous slide, we say packaging structure and the Java source file should be in the corresponding directory structure. Same thing with the class files. Okay, so this is for Java files and this is for class files. Okay, so this is something that we talked about in previous slide, meaning suppose I have rectangle class, and which is represented by Java source file called the rectangle.java, and if this class is on the graphics package, then the source file of rectangle Java has to be on the graphics directory, and class file the same thing. Okay, so the class file will be, in fact, when you're using Java C, it will create these things based on the source code directory structure. Okay, so the creating class files is less likely a problem for you because Java C will honor the directory structure of your Java files. But concept-wise, both Java files and class files should reflect the packaging directory structure. Okay, so typically, this is your, let's say, Java file. Let's say you have your Java file, which is under com.examples.graphics package. Okay, so we have a 3-level of packaging structure. Now, the class file should reflect that one as well. Okay, however, as long as this structure is corresponding, the actual root location can be different. In fact, typically you want to have your source files in one tree structure, and then you have your class file in different tree structure. So when you create a jar file, you are creating jar files only from this root instead of source, meaning you don't want to actually mix your source code and class files in a single directory structure, meaning one single directory structure. Because typically when you ship your applications, you want to ship just the class files, not Java files. So the key point is that as long as your packaging structure from here are corresponding each other, meaning they are matching, where they get started does not matter. Okay, so this is basically what I just talked about. Okay, concept of class path. Now I understand that just looking at this slide, you might not have pretty comfortable feeling in terms of how things work. Okay, so again, just stay with me, and we are going to look into this issue in more detail from the exercises of the hands-on lab. Okay, so let's move on to the concept of class path. The concept of class path is very, very critical. So in fact, when you're writing your Java application for the first time, you will actually experience a lot of class not found problem, and that is because your class is not in the class path. Okay, so the concept of class path is very important. So what is a class path? It is a set of directories where your Java class files are located. Okay. So when you're running your Java applications, your Java runtime searches for the class files that you need from the class path. Okay, meaning it goes through a set of directories of the class path and see where the file it is looking for is in that directory. Okay, so if you cannot find class in any directory specified in the class path, then it will generate an exception, class not found exception. Okay, so Java runtime searches for class files in the directories specified in the class path in the order specified. Okay, so one way that you can specify your class path is using class path environment variable. Okay, so you can set, it's like a, environment variable is operating a system concept. So suppose I have set my class path environment variable to C root, like in Windows, or you can say the $home directory in Linux or Mac OS. Okay, and then we need to set the class path to point that directory so that when Java runtime is looking for your class, it will look for that class path. Okay. Okay, so let's see an example. So suppose I have the student record.java source file, so I can compile by using Java C. So when I compile with Java C, it will generate student record.class file. Okay. Now, when you run your application by saying Java student record, it will not find it, and will actually look into why it cannot find it in the hands-on lab. So whenever it cannot find your class file, it will generate this exception. no class def found error and the student record. That means it cannot find the student record.class file from the class path. Okay. So again, we'll actually look into why we are experiencing this particular problem in the hands-on lab. Okay, so how you set the class path environment variable in Windows, you can say set class path equals c:/. Okay, and then you can specify the school classes, that student record, and basically it's looking for student record class on the school classes, the path from this the class path. Okay. Again, I'm going to explain this one in a bit more detail using hands-on lab. So if you don't follow me, that's perfectly fine. I just want you to know that this is the way that you can set your class path environment variable. Okay. In macOS and Linux, you can set your class path like this. You can have multiple directories in your class path, okay, like this. So this is Windows and this is the Unix or Linux or Mac OS. So what I'm saying here is that I am specifying that my classes could be either in this directory or this directory or this directory. So Java runtime will search for the class it's looking for one by one, from here first, and then here, and then here. Okay. All right. So that is the end of the presentation. So let's actually take a look at the hands-on lab. Now I want you to actually do these exercises along with me. So I'm going to give some time for you to play around, during this presentation. So we have almost 40 minutes, and I think there's plenty of time for you to do the exercise along with me. Okay, all right. Okay, so exercise 1. So all the exercise we are doing here today actually at the command line. We are not using an IDE. Again, as I said before, IDE handles all these things for you. Okay, but in order to understand the concept of packaging directory structure and the class path, we are going to use a command line tool. Okay, and we are going to see what kind of errors we get if you are not doing things right. Okay, all right. Let's start from 1.0. So create a directory called My Java Programs, or you can name any you can name it in any way you want. Okay. So create a directory, and then go to that directory. Okay. And using your favorite tool or favorite editor, you can use a Notepad in Windows, or you can use gedit on Linux. So create hello.java file in that directory. Okay, and then cut and paste the code. Okay, so I just created hello.java file like this. Okay, and then you are going to compile it by using java c hello.java. Okay, so if you experience java c is not found, that means you don't have the bin directory of JDK in your path. Okay. A question about the Mac OS. I'm not sure how to access your terminal window. So in Mac, I believe you can select from your system window that the system, there is actually what is called a terminal window. Okay, and let's see. So you compiled it. Everybody compiled it. Okay. Now, if you see what has been created if you say dir, you should see hello.class file. Okay, so everybody's there, right? And then you can run hello program using Java. So you say Java hello, then you should see hello world. Okay, so we haven't done anything really specific regarding class path or the packaging directory structure. So now let's see how we can specify the class path. So these are important concepts, these three. Okay, so I want you to spend some time learning the concept of class path. So when you run your Java application, so when you run Java, you can specify class path by using the class path or CP. Okay, and then you specify the path. Okay, now in fact Java runtime will actually search for your class files in this sequence. First, it will check whether class path has been specified, okay, along with your Java command. Okay, so it will look for your class file specified in the path with class path or CP option. Okay, if this has not been specified, then it will take a look at the class paths specified in class path environment variable. Okay, if this environment variable has not been set, then it will look for your class in the current directory. Okay, so the reason it worked for us here is because it's looking for hello.java class in the current directory. Okay, alright, so now we are going to use the first option. We are going to specifically specify -cp or -class path, meaning we are specifying explicit class path. Okay, so this is the path that I want the JVM, Java runtime, to look for my hello class file. Okay, so here I specify -cp and dot. Dot means current directory. So what I'm saying here is I want Java runtime to look for hello.class file in the current directory. Okay, so that is the same thing. So this is the same thing as, same effect as this, right? Okay, so it certainly finds hello.class file in the current directory. So this one should work. And instead of -cp, you can say -classpath. So that's the same thing. Okay, so everybody has done that? Okay, now we are going to give a different class path. Now instead of using dot, we are going to use dot dot. Dot dot means parent directory. So when I say Java -class path space, there is a space by the way, dot dot space and hello, you will experience no class found, no class definition found error. Okay, so the reason is because the error is expected. Okay, so one person I'm getting Java C not recognize the error. That means you don't have Java C in your class the bin directory. I mean the path. Okay, so just for those of you who are experiencing that problem. Okay, hold a second. So because you haven't set the path, so in my case I have Java JDK bin in the in my path. So typically what you have to do is first of all you have to find out where you actually installed the JDK. So in my case it's installed Java JDK 1.6.017. So you want to have bin directory. So you want to have bin directory. So this is where Java C is located. Okay, so if you say Java C, oh, I'm sorry. This is where Java C is located. Okay. All right. So basically, you want to either include this one in your path environment variable, or you can say, for example, set path and like this, and then path like this. So what it means is that I am adding this particular path to the path. Okay. Now this one works only on this particular terminal. So if you actually open another terminal, it will not work. So you might want to actually change your environment variable. Okay. All right. So okay. So now let's move on. So here you will experience this exception. The reason is because it's looking for hello.java class file in the parent directory. So the parent directory is c:/, right? You know, it's roots. Obviously it's not there, so that's the reason you got this problem. Okay. Now what we are going to do is now we are going to actually move that hello class file into the parent directory. Meaning we are going to move that hello class file into c:/, mean backslash here. Okay, so we don't have hello class file under this directory anymore. We are actually having it in the root. I mean, in the root in this case, because root is the parent directory. Okay. All right. Now let's run that application. Let's run it again. So now if you say Java Classpath .hello, then it should work because it finds hello class file in this directory. Okay. Now we can explicitly specify the directory where we have that class file. So we can say -classpath and c:/. That's a parent directory that contains hello.java class file. Okay. So this should work as well. Okay. Now if you run this command again, you know, this time we are trying to look for in the current directory, this should fail because we don't have that class hello class file anymore because we moved it. Okay. If you actually copied it, meaning you have, you know, hello class file in the current directory, then this should work. But here we actually moved it, right? So we don't have hello.class file anymore in the current directory. So you are going to experience not class found exception. Make sense? All right. Now, as we talked about, you can specify a set of directories as your class path. So here, I'm saying that my class path is current directory plus my parent directory plus ctemp. Okay? So as long as class file, in this case hello.class file, is located in one of these directories, it should work. So in our case, it resides here, right? So in the parent directory, so it should work. All right, so it's not bad, right? So it's not you know, that complicated. All right, so exercise 1.2. Now we are going to use class path environment variable. So we are going to set environment variable class path like this: set class path colon and c:, and this is my directory. Okay, so this is a directory that I set as class path. Now when I say Java hello, okay, this will fail, right? Because it will try to find hello class file in this class path. Remember, this is the second option. So you know, when you actually go back here, it tried to see whether you specified explicit class path by -class path or -cp. Since you haven't done it, it will try to find the class path from the class path environment variable directories. Okay. So again, you know, because we don't have that class.java file here, we actually move to c:/, right? So you experience that problem, you know, class not found exception problem. Okay. Now let's move it back. So we are going to move the hello class file from the parent directory to current directory. Now when you say Java hello, it should work. Okay. Mahesh, I'm going to actually help you out later on with your Java C question again, right? So let me actually move on to the end so that people can actually do this at work. Okay. Okay, so now let's see. We are going to set the class path to C temp. Okay. So again, if you say Java hello, since you don't have hello.classify in temp, you will experience this problem. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to specify the current directory explicitly by using -cp. So this one should work, right? Okay, so it's not going to use a class path environment variable because you specify -cp option. Okay, so this one has a priority over class path environment variable. Okay, so now we are going to set the class path with a set of directories. Okay, so just like a CP, you can have a set of directories. So here I say class path is ctemp plus C my Java programs. Okay, so now when I say Java hello, because you haven't specified -cp, it's going to use a class path environment variable, and then it's going to go over each of these directories to search for your hello.classify. So it searches for hello.class from ctemp. It's not there, so it goes to next. So it finds it here, so it should work. Okay. Alright, so exercise 2. So this is a bit more complicated than exercise 1. Okay, so let's move on. So this one we are going to work with, let's say, packaging structure. So exercise 1 is understanding the class path. Okay, so here we are exercising class path along with packaging structure. And here we are dealing with the two classes. So let's create the first class called the student record class. So you're going to create student record.java. Okay, and just copy and paste this code, and then you're going to create another class, student record example.java, which actually uses student record. Okay, so this is the second class, which contains a main method, and here is using student record. Okay, now even though this class is using student record, it doesn't say import, right? The reason it doesn't have to import is because they belong to the same package. As long as they are in the same package, they don't have to specify import. Okay, so just cut and paste this student record example Java file, and then you are going to delete all class files so that we can start from scratch. Okay, so we should not have any classes. Okay, so everybody create the Java files. Okay, so I'll give you a few more minutes. Okay, so while I'm actually waiting for people to create the Java files, let me, Catherine was saying that I only get command not found problem. Yeah, so that means again you have not set the bin directory of your JDK as part of your path. Okay, so what you can do is, again, the simplest way of the fixing it is do this. If you are using Windows, and so set path and then provide bin directory of your JDK and then path. Okay, then the Java C and Java command should work. Okay, so Catherine, you are using Mac, so the Mac works pretty much the same way. The command is a little bit different. Like instead of semicolon, it's actually colon. Okay, but the concept-wise is the same. So Catherine, if you just Google, the environment variable on, let's say, Mac OS, and you will find a lot of the examples. Okay, so everybody is all set with the Java files? Did you create 2 Java files now? Okay, good. So let's move on. So delete the class files, and then you are going to compile these 2, Java C, and then specify these 2 Java files. Okay, you can say star.java, or you can specify the names of the Java files like this. Okay, so it will create 2 Java files, I mean the class files. So when you say dir, you are going to see 2 class files, student record.class file and student record example.class file. Okay, so far so good. Now you should be able to run the application by saying java minus cp and current directory. So there is a space after p and dot, and again space between dot and student record example. Okay, and this one should work. So what will happen is it will try to find student record example class file in the current directory, and then because student record example uses student record class, it will also try to find student record.class file in the current directory. Okay, so this one should work. Okay, moving forward. Now we are learning packaging structure. So this is a little bit more complicated than the ones that we have seen so far. So you are going to change your student record.java file with package statement. Okay, so here add this line, package, and then student package. So this is the name of the package. Okay, same thing for student record example.java. So you are going to add packaging statement in both Java files. Okay, and save them. And again, delete the class files so that we start from the clean state. Now you should be able to compile it. So Java C, and again Java student record.java and student record example.java, because these files reside in the current directory. So the it should create it class files. So you say dir, then you should see again student record.class file and student record example.class file. So far so good. Now when you are trying to run this application by providing current directory as a class path, by saying java minus cp and current directory as a class path, and then student record example, then you will experience this problem. So first of all, it couldn't find student record example, and that has a wrong name. Okay, so we'll explain here. So I want to experience this problem first. Have you experienced this problem? Okay, now let's actually think about why this one failed. It actually files a student record example.class file in the current directory. Okay. However, when it's looking for class file, it actually has it notices it has a packaging statement. Okay. So what it's trying to do is, you have a packaging statement, and packaging statement is student package. So it is actually trying to find student record example.class file under this directory. Okay, so it finds the class file itself, but the class file does not reflect directory structure that is required. Okay, so that is what we are talking about. This particular class file is not in the right directory structure. So that's the reason it still says not class, no class definition found error. Okay, even though it finds the class file, because it's not in the right directory structure, it's still considered not found, and it actually has a bit more information. Wrong name. Okay. So this is actually important. Okay, so now we are going to actually create a new directory called the student package, which reflects the packaging structure. And now we are going to move these Java files underneath it. And this is the right thing to do. Typically, you have to have your Java files in the correct packaging structure. So even though we actually added a package statement, we have not move those files in the right packaging structure, and that's what we are doing here. We are going to actually move those files in the right directory structure. So we created student package directory. Now we are moving these two Java files to the right directory structure to so we are actually moving these two Java files, student record.java and student record example.java, to student package directory. Okay, so now at this point, your Java files are in the correct directory structure. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to delete the files, and then we are going to try to compile it. Okay, and of course it cannot find in the current directory. Okay, so it will say, oh, I cannot find this student record.java because we actually moved to subdirectory. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to use now directory structure for compiling it. So you say Java C and then student package / student record.java and also student package / student record example.java. Or you can say Java C student package / the star.java. Okay, star is a wildcard, so meaning it will pick up all the Java files in that directory and will try to compile. So now when you display directory of student package, then you should see these 4 files, right? 2 Java files and 2 class files. Okay? All right. Now we are going to run the application now using Classpath option. So we say Java, and then we say Classpath and the current directory. The current directory is still my Java programs, and then student record example. Okay, so it will just have the class not found problem right away is because in the current directory, you don't have student record example.class file. It's actually under this subdirectory, right? So, it just couldn't find that class file. So that's the reason we have a one single line, the simple error condition, that it couldn't find the student record example.class file in the current directory of this. Okay, so that's simple. So now what we are going to do, so then let's try to specify the class path. Okay, see whether that works. So what we say was Java, and then we say minus class path, and then student package. So we know this particular directory contains a class file, so this is actually obviously something that we want to try, class path, and then student record, that is student record example. Now this one still have a problem, but this is a different kind of problem. So the problem is this. This is the same problem that we have seen before. This is what happened. It finds student record example.class file, okay, right, in this class path, in this directory. Now, student record example also has a package statement. So what JVM, Java Runtime, is trying to find directory structure called student package under this. Meaning it will try to find the student record example.class file from this packaging, the class path slash student package, and then student record example. Okay. Does this make sense? So again, this is the same problem that we have seen here. It finds the class file physically. Okay, it finds the student record example.class file physically, but it actually finds inconsistency. Okay, the class file says it's using package name called the student package. So it will try to find student package slash student record example.class file under this. Meaning it will try to use this directory twice, meaning it will try to find student package slash student package slash student record example class file. So that's the reason we still have this problem. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. It's trying to find class file here. The first one is from the class path here, and this path is from package statement of the class file. And obviously we don't have this, right? Okay. So what we are going to do is now we are going to say Java and class path is current directory, and then we are going to specify student package and student record example.class file. So you can actually specify your class with a directory structure like this. This one should work fine because you are going to find student package and student record.class file starting from current directory. Okay, so it will try to find the class file here slash and the in this directory, so it should work. Now let's try this. So we actually do the same thing, and here again we are trying to specify the class path is a student package, and the same thing. Okay, again it's trying to find this particular class student package student record.example under this directory. So again it will try to find this is the same problem of this. It's trying to find that class file. Again, the first one is from the class path, and then here this one is reflecting this. Okay, so if you're using student package as a class path, you will actually experience this problem again. Yeah, here you don't. Yeah, so in this case, it just doesn't find the class file at all. This is not inconsistency problem. It's just couldn't find the file because it's trying to find the class file here. Okay, all right. Now we can actually go to student package directory now. So if we are going to run that application like this. So we are the student package directory. Now we can say Java .classpath.student record example. Yeah, so now we are having inconsistency exception. So it finds this class file physically okay, but again when you take a look at the class file, it has the packaging statement, right? So it's trying to have from this current directory of this and try to find this guy, okay, under this. Okay, so we got the same problem. Okay, now here we can say Java class path is parent directory, meaning this directory, right? And then we can specify student package and student record example, and this one should work fine, right? Because this is in fact the same thing as this. Okay, So here the current directory is this guy, and here and then that is the class path. Here we are this directory, but we are using parent directory, okay, but providing the same class structure, the directory structure, so that should work fine. Okay, and here we go to root directory, and again we can specify the class path correctly, and then we specify the name of the class like this. Okay, so let me just summarize it. Okay, so what happens is this: when you run your Java application using Java and then you specify the class path, that is the starting point of finding your classes. Okay, now the classes, if the classes has a packaging statement, the packaging statement structure should be reflected in a directory as well. So that's the key point. Okay, starting from your class path. Okay, now if you have a multiple class path directories, then it will try to apply the same principle in each of those directories specified in the class path. Okay, and if you cannot find the class in all those directories, the reflecting again directory structure, then it will have class not found problem. Okay, so either class not found problem, which is the class file is not physically found. The second problem is the inconsistency problem. It's actually the same exception, but that means the class file is physically found, but it's in the wrong directory because it's not reflecting the directory structure of the packaging statement. Okay. All right, 2.3 is we are adding another class that in the different package. So we are going to create another package. So whenever you're actually adding a package, basically you have to create a new directory structure, new directory. Okay. So since we are going to have another package, we are going to create a directory. So make there another package, and then you go to that package, and then you're going to create dummy class.java file. Okay. So this dummy class.java file reside in this directory structure. Okay. So whatever directory name here should be reflected in the packaging statement. Okay. Okay, now we are going to use this dummy class from student record, okay, and student examples. Well, actually in student record. So here we are going to import it. So import and another package star dot star, meaning I'm importing all the classes under this package. So we have only one class, so we are importing only one dummy class, okay. And then we are going to create dummy class here, and we are basically using dummy class here in this code. That's all, okay. All right, now let's try to compile it. Okay, so here we say javac student package.java. So we have a student packages, right? And then we are going to oh, okay, so something is missing. So I didn't do javac of the another package. Yeah, looks like I missed one statement here. So I should say javac and then another package / start.java. Okay, so I should have the same thing for dummy class. The one line is missing. Okay, and now you can run the application java.classpath and student package student record example. Okay, this one should work fine because let's see, where is the dummy? Your name is. Yeah, looks like I made a mistake here. Yeah, so somehow the it's not calling dummy hello. Okay, yeah, so this is actually a bit incorrect. Oh, okay, so I have a dummy. Oh, okay, so it's actually running fine. Okay, so I'm dummy. I thought I don't see these things. This one, yeah. So I'm seeing, yeah. So this is correct. Yeah, but I think javac another package / the Java is still has to be executed so that I have a class file created. Now, when I run this application, class path and student package student record example, you should actually use that package correctly. Okay, so anybody has gone to this point? So just a little bit of repeat. I'm not sure I explained how dummy class is found is. So class path is current directory. So, when this class file, student record example, is using student record, the student record is going to search for dummy class from the class path. Okay? Because another package is under this current directory, you should find the dummy class file. Okay? So that's the reason it works. Okay, so right now 6 o'clock. How many of you were able to do these exercises with me? Okay, let me just